Are you ready for kind of a weird analogy? I hope so, because we're going to talk about a weird analogy. So, Ron Mars, comic writer, says comic books are not a restaurant. You don't get to order what you want off the menu. So, if I go into a store and I'm like, man, I want me some Black Panther, and I look around and I don't see Black Panther, I can't go to the shop owner and say, hey, could they make some Black Panther? Who then go to Marvel editorial and be like, yo, can you make some Black Panther? Who will then commission a writer to write some Black Panther. You can't do that. Your feedback means nothing. Well, let's track this down, all right? I started drawing a little figure here. And, oh, check this out. You know, you can't get what you want, apparently. You can't order what you want, but apparently I got what I wanted anyway, which was Fire Nice #2. I don't know how that worked. I got the thing I ordered. Let's break this down. You have a creative team over here. They have a customer. That customer's name is editorial. And editorial is really powerful because editorial makes decisions like, hey, we're going to make this book. Now, editorial has a customer. That customer's name is shop. Now, the shop has a customer, and that customer's name is you, or me, or anybody else that walks into a shop and purchases things. So let's track down how this works, all right? Now, supposedly, you can only choose from what's already been made. You get to choose what you buy, not what is made. All right, I want you to understand this. You get to choose what you buy, not what is made. So I walk into the shop, and I'm looking for something that's like super classic Black Panther, or maybe I want some Captain America, some Batman, and I want Batman to actually act like Batman. So I'm like, hey man, you got a Batman that's kind of like Dark Knight Returns? And the shop goes, well, yeah, I got some Batman in the back issue bins that are probably what you want. I'm like, no, man, I want something fresh. I want new Batman. That's like the old Batman. He goes, oh, well, they don't make that anymore. You can't have that. So then my reaction, is a bunch of question marks, and I go home. Now, do you notice the thing that's missing from this? And if you go, oh yeah, there was none of that. You're correct. There was no money exchanged. And I go home with a frowny face like that. Now the shop guy, he goes to editorial and he's like, hey, I got a customer asking for something in the vein of a classic Black Panther story. Hey, I got a customer that wants some Miles Morales in the Ultimate Universe. Hey, I got a customer who wants like something like that Miss Marvel miniseries from a couple years ago that people seem to really like. And they go, well, we don't make that anymore. So Shopman, he gets here and he's like, you don't make that anymore? You don't make the thing that I was able to sell? No, we don't do that here. We don't make books you can sell. So his reaction is a bunch of question marks. And then he gets to go home. And you know what happened? He didn't exchange any money. And now, because editorial told him that his opinion didn't matter, he's got a frowny face. And it's a bigger frowny face than mine because his livelihood is actually on the line. The feedback process is completely broken. The company over here is mostly decoupled from their bad decisions because Marvel and DC don't treat these things like serious businesses anymore. They're like somebody's hobby project. They may still technically make money, but these corporate entities exist for an entirely different purpose, which is generating and maintaining intellectual properties that can then be monetized by the rest of the giant corporate behemoth. So really, all of this over here is subsumed into Disney, or I guess now whatever Discovery's calling itself, WB Discovery, something like that. And so he, the writer, is completely insulated from any bad decisions because he's getting paid regardless. He doesn't care. Editorial is pretty much insulated from any bad decisions because they don't care. As long as this entity or that entity is actually happy with the way things are, there will be no change in the rest of this. The feedback goes here, it gets black holed, or worse, the person giving the feedback ends up getting mocked relentlessly on social media by these people over here because there is no accountability. There is no feedback mechanism. There is no way to actually correct things because these corporate entities don't care. Meanwhile, this guy over here, who's trying to run a little shop, a little small business, backbone of America, he's going out of business because he can't sell the slop being served up on plates by Disney. He can't sell the slop being served up by Warner Brothers Discovery. Or Marvel and DC, however you want to refer to them. This shopkeeper goes home unhappy. He's just watching his, bank account, which used to be like this. He's only got $2 in it, and now he's only got $1 in it because I didn't bring a dollar bill in here to give to him. Kind of stinks for him. And because these big corporate entities kind of have a semi-monopoly, Marvel and DC account for the majority of Western comic books being sold, he's got really no choice. He still has to try to give them money to get something he can sell and hope that maybe the book has returnability on it or something like that, and that he's not completely screwed. Meanwhile, I'm over here reading random, I guess Dynamite's not really indie, but they're not a big publisher either. I'm reading like a random book from them. I got a Glenn Danzig book under there. I got books from 30 years ago. I'm sitting pretty good. I'm living high on the hog, finding stuff I want to read, even though I can't order the things I want. So what I would really like to do is be able to walk into a store and be like, man, you know what I want? I want a really cool story like blah, 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 blah. And then the shopkeeper goes, yeah. And the next time he's talking to his representative, at the distributor, he sends that feedback up the chain. That feedback makes it to editorial. Editorial goes, we've gotten 57 different stores saying that they think they could sell 100 copies of, I don't know, pick something at random. The life story of Bam Bam Bigelow. Maybe we ought to make that. Somebody go contact the Bam Bam Bigelow estate, and we'll do a book about that time he rescued a bunch of people, a bunch of children from a burning building. It'll sell like gangbusters. That's the way it's supposed to work. And up until the Heroes World fiasco, that is the way it worked. Distributors would tell the corporate entities what was selling and what was not selling. They had instantaneous feedback. There was a direct coupling of feedback to the creative process because of that, because editorial would see that feedback, and editorial would be like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. You need to work on this book, you need to work on this book, and we can start selling more units. That doesn't happen anymore. The breakdown of this feedback process is a primary driver for the fact that manga is eating the comic book industry's lunch. You know what manga does? Instantaneous feedback. Dude's got a story, he's got to get his 10 pages done for Shonen Jump every week. If his story is not popular, they stop running it. If his story doesn't do what the editorial team wants, they stop running it. Immediately. There's no gigantic corporate entity insulating them from that feedback process. So if you want to know why manga can sell 1.6 million volumes in a month for a series I've never heard of, whereas it takes a special event to get Batman to sell more than like 150,000, that's probably part of why. There's a lot of generalities here. I'm not picking out case studies, but this is how it's supposed to work. Is feedback goes up, feedback comes down in the form of products, and everybody's happy. It's a virtuous, cycle. Instead, we have a broken cycle where there's a firewall right here in the middle between the people who are paying for the product and the people who are making the product. Anyway, you take care of yourselves. You have a great day, and I hope to see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.